What's up, friends? Welcome back for another Sunday short. I had something really interesting happen literally yesterday, and I was like, I wonder if this has ever happened to anybody. This has never happened to me, and that's what these are for, is to kind of have those conversations as to what, like those moments, what? So my recent what moment was I got a check in the mail from a gig that I did back in February, the end of February. And I looked at it and I was like, interesting. Okay. So I went to my files, pulled out the file from this gig, and what I typically do is I save like the check stub for when people pay me, so I have record of things, just in case at the end of the year I don't get a tax document from them, which I always have, but you never know, you always want to keep your stuff, right? Well, I had already been paid. That's the thing. I got the deposit, I got paid at the event, and I was looking at this and like, maybe this is for something else. So I went back and double checked everything. I'm like, no, they just paid me twice. And I was like, this is weird. So I sent an email to my point of contact and I was like, just to let you all know, I got this check in the mail. Clearly not going to cash it, but I want to let you know that I will destroy it. I will send it back, like whatever you want me to do, let me know. Just letting you know. And of course they were like, thank you so much for telling us this while. They're like, could you, they're like, don't destroy it, just mail it back to us. And I was like, okay, great. So I put it in the mail. This morning I get an email, and because this happened like just yesterday, and this morning I get an email and they said, hey, we would really like it if we're going to send the check back to you. We'd like it if you do 2 virtual talks for us in May and then 1 in June. And they gave me the dates. They're like, if you're open. And I was like, well, what's the format of the talks? Like, what do I look for? They detailed out the criteria, basically Q&A with their students, and 2 virtual. And I was like, I'm in. And they're like, great, because we want, to continue to work with you, and we're happy to send the check back. And I'm like, okay. So weird. That's a first for me, where I've been paid twice, sent the check back, and they were like, you know what? We actually just want to know if you're able to do these 2 virtual things, and we'll just send you the check back. It's like, okay. I think that is a huge testament to the relationship that you have with decision makers. Not that you'll have that exact situation come up, but there will be situations where you go, what? And with that comes what type of relationship you have with your decision maker. I have worked with this decision maker another time before, and then this last time in February, and then obviously again in May and June. She is wonderful. She's amazing. She's full of energy. She's so much love for the audience that she serves as a community support professional and therapist, and I just adore working with her. In fact, I want to let y'all know that I messaged her back about those 2 virtual gigs, and I was like, listen, I'm totally fine doing these for free. Like, you have done a lot for me. You're an amazing person to work with, and I just want to help serve your students. And she's like, no, we're sending the check back. And I was like, I'm grateful. Thanks. And so it's just wonderful that now, because of that, I also just put together a little invoice, like what to expect, things like that. I didn't put together a full contract with that because it was very much, which is interesting because I would never typically do business via email. In fact, that's something that I say don't do. However, this was like a special circumstance. It kind of just happened, and I know what they're looking for, and I've worked with her many times. So with those types of relationships, you can definitely make a call as to what the system or the process is that you want to utilize with that. So rather than drop a full contract, I said I would send you an invoice that included both of these with this pricing for the check that is literally being tossed back and forth right now. You can't make this stuff up. I mean, but I really do feel, like I said, that this is a testament as to the relationship you build with decision makers, because you never know what could come of it. And if you're not getting gigs from gigs, what are we doing? It doesn't always come down to that decision maker, but it does come down to the relationships that you build in the process. And working with her was just absolutely fabulous. So I'm going to ask you, and I got asked by a colleague of mine who's in the speaking industry recently, and he's like, there's like a bug flying around. What is happening? But he asked, like, do you, like, post event, do you send emails? Do you ask for referrals? Do you, like, what do you do? And I said, well, it depends. I mean, for me personally, it depends if I'm speaking for a school or like a student conference. I mean, that to me is a little bit different. I still treat my decision makers and my event planners and my point of contacts with awesomeness, right? I want to be the easiest speaker they work with. But with events, I typically do a post-event call, like conferences and things like that. With schools, I typically do an email video with testimonial form. And it's been great. It's been great. That's what I typically do. That's my process. Develop your process. I definitely recommend a post-event call is something you should challenge yourself to do. It's uncomfortable at first because then, you're looking for feedback, you're asking for referrals. It can be uncomfortable, but you need to lean into those moments to learn how to handle them and navigate them, right? And how to move forward as a speaker. And one of the things I really ask also, especially people I have good relationships with, is because testimonials and things like that are great, but sometimes people will want to hear from someone you've worked with, like a referral, and they want to talk to that person, right? Like a what's it called on a resume? Like wow, it's been so long since I put together a resume. I don't even know. What are they called? Your sources? Not your sources. What are they? What are they when you like list people to contact? I'm totally blanking. I have no, is it referral? It cannot be that simple. Someone get back to me about that. But that is what they're looking for is, people to vouch on your behalf and things like that. So I will ask those, especially people with like really good relationships I have. If this comes up, if someone asks for a referral, can I send them your information? That's really valuable in my opinion. So yeah, that's an interesting thing that occurred. So I want to share that with you. The bottom line is make sure you're building solid relationships with your decision makers, your point of contacts, and your event planners, because it will literally serve you well in the future when you have your what moments. Okay. Talk to you guys soon. See you next Sunday. Bye.